Yeah, we're live here, so let's make sure that
Awesome.
nothing on there. All right.
Hey, what's up, everyone? This is my
Hey,
third live
everybody.
today.
What
For
it,
a day,
this
for a day,
morning
I
has
thought I
been.
wasn't doing anything. Like we canceled the window of discussion on Banner and Backbone so
Yup.
we could take a break, and it's Christmas Eve. But you know what? Truth really matters, and we have to get breaking news out when there's actual breaking information because we don't ever
Yep.
use that word here.
Yep. Yep. We this is true. We never use the word breaking news. In fact, those of you who follow me and Nick, you'll have seen in the past we've made comments along the lines of, "Oh yeah, breaking news." I hate the term breaking news, but I do think that this particular situation, one, it's really important that we, as the independent and new media, get ahead of what's about to happen. Um, and the way things are looking, that this is going to go between Midas Touch and Lev Parnas, and make sure that we support the right side of history here. Because, like, and I will say this: Lev Parnas could have said nothing, and me and Nick's position would not be changed
Yeah,
on any of this, right? So, like, the fact that Lev Parnas is in this fight is huge, because it's like, it's like Hercules, going up against a monster, and then, one of the, in our sphere of influencers, one of the gods of they come down, and he's like, I got your back, bro. Right? Because we all know, if you're here, we all know what Midas Touch has been doing. We know they've been running a grift. We know that it's all about the money. Um, and we know that it's about a mission. But I received a message this morning. And if you were watching Lev's earlier live stream, you would see that this message is actually identical to one that was read on his live. And when you're asking me what the omission is, the omission is reality. um,
yeah. So no. This is a great question, and Evan you are asking this earnestly. Is we don't all know what the omission is, and the omission is. So let's go over a couple things that have happened in the last few weeks. First off, Midas Touch was accused of plagiarizing Lev Parnas's work about Ukraine.
mhm.
Um, they then have been suppressing Ukraine reporting from Lev. Is the sound of it, is what it sounds like, is there's active suppression going on reporting around Ukraine. And we find that a little reprehensible or really reprehensible, because Ukraine is a firewall for democracy and should be one of our closest allies. And they should be putting out truth and information without fear or favor and without a paywall, because it's fucking disgusting that we can't get full information and real information out there. And it's really sad because truth is golden, right? Except no truth is coming out. And Kimmy, you wanted to ask receipts, and Shane's actually going to show up here on the screen the message that he got from Midas Touch.
Yep.
In
Uh,
response to his comments, because we tagged them and called them out on things, and Michael Cohen lied to my face and threatened Zev Shalev on a live while we were there. If most of you saw it last week with Ellie Leonard, Zev Shalev, Michael Cohen, Lev Parnas, Dean Blundell, Wajahat Ali, this will hold. Like, Michael lied to us when he was questioned on Thursday, right after the Trump speech. And he didn't
there
give.
he is.
Hey,
Hi
Lev,
guys.
we're just
welcome,
giving
man.
some backstory on what happened over the last couple weeks and what's brought us to this point that we're having to talk about the Midas Touch, and what's going on in information suppression and lack of getting the truth out there, because the truth seemed to go from gold to liquid gold, and be mutable and changeable and So we just wanted to get you on. Again, I know we were on the phone a couple minutes ago talking with you. We like being super transparent here, and we want to help. We want to help support the causes of truth and accountability. And like I said on your live, is I don't like being lied to, especially to our faces, and then having like those that I know are doing really hard work have their credibility and their personhood and their personality trashed because somebody doesn't want to answer a question. And Shane and I call out the Midas Touch a lot. So Shane, do you want to do you want to show the message that you got?
Yeah. So like I messaged Nick this morning. Okay. And I've received one other response from Midas Touch ever. And it was when I was calling them out for basically not doing shit while they tore down the people's house, yet claim they are a lawyer-based pro-democracy network. So, they responded to me with this cop-out that we're a megaphone and we spread the truth. Okay, we don't sue, we spread the truth. Well, so when I received this message, and yesterday when you made your first post, I immediately went to Substack. I restacked it. I said, hey, I back you and Aaron Parnas. We all need to talk about Midas Touch. I tagged MTN. I tagged Ben Meiselas. And I'm like, yo, Lev Parnas, he's telling the truth. So when I don't expect anything from them. So when I woke up this morning with a message from Midas Touch, and there's a certain level of irony. So usually I do a screen share, but since we're on here, you guys, and I will read it to you verbatim here, and I'll happily post it later as a screenshot. The irony here as well is right before this message, you see an article that I sent them in April about the WLFI scam before they even successfully implemented the World Liberty Financial scam. I sent them a massive report on exactly what was going to happen. And so the next message here is I received this morning from Midas Touch, and I'm going to read it to you guys. Hi, Shane. I saw your comment. It wouldn't be appropriate for me to get into details, but Lev appears to be going through some personal issues. And unfortunately, he's taking it out on his son and us because his son works with us. I'm not sure where this is coming from, but I genuinely hope he gets the support he needs.
So we're offering you support, Lev.
Yes.
But I don't.
Yes,
but I don't.
Exactly.
I don't think you're having a mental breakdown. I think you're being a dad who's protective of his son and who cares about his son.
Guys.
And who you're a good dad.
I appreciate that. I mean, because look, I appreciate for you guys having me here. I can't believe I'm in shock to see that because when I received that message from one of my other subscribers earlier, and I made some phone calls, and I was told that Midas Touch is actually putting on a major smear campaign to try to make me look like I'm crazy. And from a really reliable source, I almost had PTSD, folks. I'm not joking, because that's the exact same thing that Donald Trump and Rudy Giuliani tried to do when I first got arrested because they were scared of the truth. They were scared because what I was going to come out and the truth that I was going to say was going to be very, very, very bad for them. And this is the same thing happening with the Midas Touch. The reason why they're playing their role, and the sick part is they're using my son. I want to make it very clear to everybody out there. This is not about my son. I don't have a problem with my son. I love my son more than anything in the world. The reason why I'm doing is I'm trying to protect him from the people that are surrounding him and that are using him. And right now, unfortunately, because he spent so many years in that environment, that I do not thank you for the therapy. Great. I'll take that as under consideration. Somebody said
I mean, we all need therapy.
We
so
all
it's
need
not
therapy.
a bad thing.
Yeah, not a bad thing. I agree with you. It's not a bad thing, but I just wanted to say this. So it's not about me trying to debate something with my son, or I disagree with something that's happening. The fact of the matter is this, folks. My son does not agree with Michael Cohen. My son does not support Michael Cohen. I know that. from all the years that my son has been telling me not to be next to Michael Cohen. So the fact that he was put in a position, and yes, now he unfortunately he has to try to protect his environment by coming out there and saying that he was not used and they didn't. So, but I could tell you, and you're all more than welcome to ask him. My son does not support Michael Cohen, and my son never would have gone on a show with them if it wasn't for the relationship with the Midas guys, and so on and so on. So the fact that it was happening right as we were getting into it with Michael Cohen, Nick, and this is literally just happened. And the Midas guys know this. Michael Cohen knows this because I spoke to Michael Cohen, and he knew that Zev is doing investigative work. You are, Ellie is, Tara is, that there's, Shane. There's a lot of people out there that they're not happy with the way he's responding to this whole Epstein thing. And and I wasn't happy with the situation. You saw we would go butt heads, but I was giving him the benefit of the doubt until I told him. I said, "Look, you saw on the show." I said, "If we're here because of facts, no opinions." Zev, Ellie, Nick, these guys are bringing facts. Dispute them, show them, prove them wrong, shut them up, and let's move on. Don't tell me you're not going to give this air or you're not going to talk, because that bullshit I've seen in my life. That means that you have things to hide. And what I'm saying to you, and I started seeing that, and that's why behind the scenes we were working on putting together a show and everything else about how to discuss Michael Cohen. So miraculously, coincidentally, all of a sudden, 2 days after, my son Aaron gets a call to do a fill-in spot for 15, 20 minutes on the Michael Cohen podcast having to do with the Epstein files. Now, here's the problem. There's no big deal that my son did it. The problem is now my son is not aware of the situation going on. He's being told to do it because, what's it called? Michael Cohen is very sneaky and smart. And he will use that, to do a regular, probably a fluff piece. My son will probably not ask him any hard question because it's coming from the Midas Touch. It would be more about talking about what's going about. Probably nothing major in the interview, but that's a fact. The fact is then once it's done, what does not Michael Cohen and the Meidas do? They promote clips of that Michael Cohen. So now when a guy like Nick Pardo goes out and confronts Michael Cohen and says, you are wrong, or when Zev comes there, because Zev only, like Michael told me, I don't give a shit about him. He only has 17,000 subscribers. But when now he has Aaron Parnas having an interview with him that has number one in it. Now, who are they going to believe? Michael Cohen's going to say, you're going to believe Zev with 17,000 subscribers, or you're going to believe, look, Aaron Parnas just did an interview with me. No problem with that. And that's what my son, unfortunately, right now doesn't understand. He's not looking at this as a business. He's pure trying to report the news. So, and he trusts the Midas guys. So he's not thinking that he's being set up or used to be able to. So that's why I'm pissed. And that's the only reason my son is even involved in this, as far as I'm concerned. And the fact that they pushed him into coming into that live that I did earlier to try to defend him. Because if you take a look, my poor son had to come in there to defend the Midas Touch, saying nobody did anything of what's going on. So what I'm saying to you again, it's not about my son. You guys could support him. You could not support him. It's your privilege. Some of you agree, disagree with him. My son has nothing to do with the situation that I'm talking about.
Yeah.
This is strictly about the exposure of Midas Touch. And it's right. It's Aaron's choice. If he decides and wants to continue supporting, he'll realize it eventually. I mean, he's a big boy. Sometimes we're, as parents, we could only tell, we could only try to help, we could support. But when you get to a point, he has his own family, he's a married man, and listen, he's been brainwashed by these guys since 2019, since I got arrested. From the day I got arrested, Aaron was a 19-year-old kid sitting in Washington, D.C., studying to be a lawyer. And these are the people that surrounded him while his father was in prison. So, I was the bad guy. I was the big bad wolf that, that to stay away from. So, that's where we are. So I don't want anybody to think that I'm trying to throw Aaron under the bus or Aaron is against him. Me and Aaron... Yeah, go ahead. I'm sorry, Shane. Go ahead.
I wanna, because I'm watching the comments here, Lev, and I was watching the comments in your other videos, and look, so guys, I'm gonna be real honest with you right now, okay? And when me and Lev and Nick were talking before this, This has nothing to do with Aaron Parnas, okay? Aaron Parnas can do what Aaron Parnas wants to do. Like Lev said, he's a grown man. He's built his own brand on what he does. Whether he does things we agree with or don't is irrelevant. The issue on the table has everything to do with the morality and the overwhelming monopoly that Midas Touch holds on the independent, and I cannot emphasize these air quotes, independent media, and how damaging it is to our ability as Americans to fight back against fascism. Okay? So you guys need to lay the hell off Lev. Back off. Back the fuck off. Okay? Seriously, because this doesn't have, what Lev is saying is that Midas Touch is the problem. Okay? Midas Touch is the problem. Lev has done more independent journalism. Lev has broken more news. Lev is like me. Lev focuses on the picture. He's not looking at the surface shit that everyone else is. Okay? He's not Midas saying, Trump had another disastrous day in the White House. No, he fucking didn't. They're getting everything they fucking want right now because Midas is reporting absolutely nothing and actively now attempting to run a smear campaign on Lev Parnas. And I'm going to yell. You guys know me. I'm a firebrand. I'm going to frickin' yell, right? That's why I'm here. I get pissed. And Lev needs our support because we need to be backing as independent as the new media, as me and Nick say. Every industry needs to self-regulate. And that includes our industry. That includes the industry of truth and transparency. And what Lev is doing is he is choosing to stand up against the giant, and me and Nick are going to stand next to him because
God bless
the
you
giant
guys. Love
needs
you,
to
man.
come down.
Absolutely.
And this has nothing to do with Aaron, and this has everything to do with us focusing on looking at what MTN is doing, what news they're reporting, and what the reality is, and just to ground what if I can succinctly take Lev's argument, and correct me if I'm wrong, Lev, but if I can succinctly make it one sentence, the issue with Midas Touch is that they choose to report news while omitting reality, which means they are not reporting the news. They are pushing a narrative that is not accurate. And that forces, that creates a problem with Americans' ability to respond to real developing fascism in America.
100% Shane. So basically what they've done is they've basically taken the opportunity when the whole world was pissed with CNN and MSNBC, and they turned themselves into that independent journalism. Then they became that CNN and MSNBC, basically what we're seeing right now. At some point, yes, I'm going to tell you, they weren't always bad. These are not bad guys. I'm not out here trying to say Ben Meidas is some criminal. I'm not comparing them to Trump. But sometimes we become a product of our own environment. Sometimes we forget what the mission that we start and we move on. And that is the conversations I've been having with them. This didn't come out in one day or in 1 week. We're talking about 10 months or maybe even more of, I know these guys for over 6 years. When they were nobody, when they were just starting out, I was their main big time interview because of, the Trump stuff back then. But then they grew into a position where they just became a speaking voice for the Democratic Party. They promote, do you ever see them coming out criticizing the Democratic leadership? Do you ever see them coming out there talking about anything? No. That's why, so what difference does that make? How is that independent journalism? How is that? They're basically pushing narratives. They're using clickbait type of information. And the crazy part is, none of it is free. They started out as free, but now everything is paywalled. Everything from their contributors, every contributor, everything. And the sick part, what I'm exposing, and this is why Michael Cohen comes into the picture, is they're not there to give you the truth. they're there to put on shows and then make profit off of it. Because if you take a look at it, they're there promoting. The only people they promote are their contributors. Their contributors are not people that have breaking news or sources. Their contributors are writing stories in different ways about the same regurgitation that's being played out on CNN and MSNBC. They're not having interviews with people, whistleblowers that are coming out and giving breaking news. They're making interviews with Hakeem Jeffries and what's his name? Anybody else? I'm just right now
And like
rambling. Yeah,
interviews like that wouldn't be bad if they were pushing a message that was actually what we
correct.
were talking about and all the things that the American people want. Like Midas, you
And they,
have the platform to dictate the Democratic Party's policy, basically,
yeah,
and push it, but you're not.
You're 100% right, Nick. That's the problem. That's what I tell them. I mean, even Ukraine, think about it. With the platform Midas Touch has, we could be exposing and with the breaking news. See, folks, the things that I talk about right now, Shane's talking about, Nick's talking about, this is all factual. You could go for the past 10 months, take a look at every letter that I wrote. You could take a look at every video. It's here on Substack. You could see the timestamp. You could see what I said, who I said, and everything. And then you could compare what Midas wrote that day. And you could compare it to what Michael Cohen and their contributors wrote that day. And you could look at that months. And then you could take a look when they do jump on, when already like a big Wall Street Journal or somebody picks up 3, 4, 5 months later when all the damage is done. And even then, through that, they won't help, push the message. Because again, at the end of the day, I didn't come here to become a show host. This is not a show. To me, this is my life. I went to prison for this. I was part of that cult. I sit here and have PTSD and cry every day about watching the disaster that I helped create. I go on these shows and to be able not to try to create an audience, I'm building a movement. I'm going out there because to go into places where none of these Democrats, Midas Touch could never go into any of these places because they're so far left, it doesn't matter. I'm trying to bring our country together. Midas Touch is out there bringing message to keep you farther apart and just to hate the other side. There's no unity message. All their messages, even like today, I said, you take a look. We're being attacked by Donald Trump. It's clickbait. Donald Trump? I could promise you Donald Trump does not know who Ben Meidas is. I will bet you anything you want that he doesn't know who and doesn't even care about Meidas because they're an echo chamber. Because they have you guys, the people that they give you what you want to hear. They give you that clickbait stuff that you think, oh, Trump is dying, Trump is this, Trump is bad, Trump is that, and that's all. And then they say, okay, and at the end, support us, send us money because Trump is bad. But they don't give you any news. So you know what? I kept trying to explain to them, here, look, guys, let's set up a channel on Ukraine. Let's go 50-50. What? Like right away, it's business. To me, this is not a business, folks. To me, this is important for people are dying in Ukraine. People are dying in the Middle East. People are dying here in the United States and what is ISIS happening. So when we start talking about business and promoting people because you have deals with, not because they're bringing information, that is what I'm talking about. Not about my son. My son is just being used because unfortunately, he's been with them for so long, he can't even imagine. Just like when you're in a cult, when you believe until you open your eyes, and this is why I'm doing this, he might be angry with me today, and he might hate what I'm doing today. But I promise you one day my son's going to come to me and say, thank you, Dad. Thank you for what you're doing, because at that moment I didn't realize. I wish somebody could have done that. I wish I had a father and that could have came to me when I was with Donald Trump, running around saying that I'm going to do this and said, stop, don't do this. I'm saying, to try to get me away, but I didn't. And that's why I ended up in prison and I ended up here talking to you. So I'm doing this because I love my son, and I'm hoping he understands that the people around, he doesn't need anybody. He has his own platform. He needs to go on his own. He needs to get away from the Meidas guys. He needs to get away from everything. Be independent, my son. Get away from them all. Do your thing. It's not about you, and I love you more than anything, and I hope you understand, and it's not about that. But because they're using you, I know you're angry at me, but I won't let them hurt you because Daddy's there to protect you. you. I promise that, like it or not. So that's what I'm telling you there. So these Midas guys, it's all about right now the grift. It's all about, and Michael Cohen, he's the biggest grifter of them all. You know what I'm saying to you? He plays this game, and the other thing that pisses me off, guys, I'm sorry that I'm rambling, is
No,
because
you're good.
the thing besides my son that touches me really badly, that why I'm so pissed off at the situation, is what's going on with this Epstein files, with the Epstein survivors, with the story that they're trying to bury, with all of this stuff. This is the most powerful story, the most biggest cover up in the history of the United States and the world. And we're seeing it playing out. And then you have this a person that was involved. And I'm not saying Michael Cohen is guilty of anything. I want to make it clear. I'm not accused them of anything. I didn't say Michael Cohen did this, but Michael Cohen has some explaining to do. Michael Cohen has some answers he needs to give. Michael Cohen has to, come out and not only talk about what happened during Stormy Daniels, he needs to come out and talk about what happened through the whole 14 years he was with Donald Trump. That's what I'm saying. And what's pissing me off is the Midas Touch won't push him on that. And I spoke to Ben about that. They won't push him on that. And they're promoting just stories that he's writing. And then when you have people like Nick, people like Zev, people like Ellie, people like Tara, people like Shane, confront Michael Cohen with simple questions like, hey, you say there was another case that it wasn't KD Johnson, it was somebody else. Can you give us the case number so we could take a look? It doesn't exist because the only case that was around was KD Johnson. So, Michael, explain to us that. But no, I'm not going to explain that to you because I'm not going to give you the time. See, I don't play that game. See, to me, that's bullshit. So that's why I have an issue with Midas Touch, because Midas Touch should be vetting their contributors instead of pushing it. They should be very good. They should at one point and say, "Hey, Michael, we had our Stormy Daniel stuff. We made a lot of money on Stormy Daniels. You pushing it. You sold 2 books. You went out there. We Midas Touch did your podcast. We did all of this stuff. But now we're at a position here. This is the Epstein files. You were around him during all those years. We're seeing the information come out, the text messages, the emails. We're seeing things come out. Like, how could you say that you were his fixer? You were his closest guy. You know him better than anyone. This is your words, Michael. You say that you know him better than anybody, that nothing would happen without you knowing, except when it comes to the Epstein files. As soon as you mention Epstein, no, I don't know, never been there, don't know where I'm going. Well, I don't play that game.
Yeah, and there was a question in the chat from American Citizen that I wanted to get back to, because this is part of we like to focus on the banner and backbone side, especially, is how do we act, how do we do things, what do we make actionable out of this? And the comment from American Citizen was a really good one, is why don't we create basically a joint breaking news platform, or use banner and backbone as a breaking news platform? We're working on that. We are, with Zev and Lev and Dean and Waj and Malcolm and other contributors. I reached out to Lev's team just a couple minutes ago before the show with Shane, and we're going to collaborate and work on doing that so that everybody has access to this information. And yeah, we're tiny platforms comparative, but that shouldn't matter. The size of our subscriber base doesn't matter. It's not. I don't care that Zev has 15,000 or whatever subscribers. I don't care that Michael Cohen has 50-something thousand or whatever it is. I trust Zev because he is bringing truthful information and is doing deep research and is providing really good content that is driving real information out there and isn't just clickbait and rage bait and hate bait and whatever nonsense. So we are trying to work together, and like with folks like Cheech, to try and get a platform together that not to rival the Midas Touch, but to be a truth platform, to actually just get news out there, to be a co-op of news where people go and get their information, they get what they need. Like, a lot of you know that I like to calm situations down and I like to diffuse. And that's where Banner and Backbone can come in, is because we don't need rage bait. We need information. We need firebrands who have content that are informative. And we're acting to ask people to do things. And part of that is we're taking up that onus too of doing the stuff ourselves.
Yeah, Nick,
Yeah, go ahead, Lev.
I'm gonna jump in
Sorry.
here. Really quick, because look, these guys are saying all the right things, but it's always important that we provide real, tangible examples when we're talking about these things. So I'm just gonna share with you guys a couple things that I get that Midas Touch hasn't reported on that are real fucking news. Okay. In the last week, the entire country of Yemen has collapsed. It is gone. It no longer exists. Okay. The Southern Transitional Council, an extremist group backed by the United Arab Emirates, have stormed through Yemen, unseated the Saudi-backed government, and now you have 3 warring factions within Yemen right now, and you are seeing a straight-up proxy war between the United Arab Emirates and Saudi Arabia on the brink of occurring. Thailand and Cambodia have been at war since the first week of December, okay? Over almost 1 million people have been displaced, okay? In Rwanda and the Democratic Republic of the Congo, the United States went in to broker a peace deal, which is a resource extraction deal that has devolved, and the extremist group M23 has captured essential rare earth mineral extraction facilities that are integral and important to the global supply chain. Okay? You know, there is a climate crisis happening right now. Okay? We are seeing extreme weather all over the world. These are the things Americans should be worried about. The fact that the next Category 5 hurricane to hit the southeast of America is going to be devastating, and yet FEMA doesn't exist. Guys, I'm trying to tell you what Lev is telling you about Ukraine, the importance of supporting Ukraine, of the fact that the EU is a fucking mess, and they can't agree on anything, and they are so vulnerable. And if it were not for Ukraine, Europe would be in shambles, okay? The Russians would have collected Kaliningrad and invaded the Baltics at this point. I'm telling you guys that they are not reporting the news.
They're not even reporting the devastating flooding that's in Washington state right now. That's been going on for weeks. Like, we're not even getting good information about internal matters from Meidas. They're not, it's puff pieces and it's coverage of bullshit. It's placation news. It's to make us feel comfortable and accept what's going on just slower. Like, it's not about saving democracy, to be totally honest, because if they were, they would be out here amplifying Lev's message. They would be on Substack cross-posting and sharing and restacking every single message that Lev has for free and driving content directly to him. Like, that's what you can do on Substack. Like, it's so easy to do for larger platforms to be able to help smaller or even
And I have no
more
paywalls.
independent platforms. And no paywalls, like take the paywalls down. If you have a paywall, my recommendation is take it down, put all your stuff out for free, and ask people just to say, hey, support me if you can. And then
again,
what we talked about with Cheech, Lev, you didn't hear this, is I'm going to start a coupon on Banner and Backbone where I'm going to work with Cheech to organize so that any subscriptions that go through that coupon code go directly and 100% to funding and supporting Ukraine. So we're going to start using.
God bless
we're
you.
going to use our platform to support that, however
God
we
bless
can
you,
too.
man. Just think about it, folks. I mean, like, think about what he's saying. This is a gentleman standing here with a small platform trying to build, and that they need money all they can to be able to not only survive, pay their families, to build a platform. They're doing it nonstop, and they're supporting great. Imagine if Midas Touch did one interview properly about the fundraiser for the Ukrainian generators, we would have already lit up all of Odessa. We would have already lit up. I don't understand. Like, I don't understand. It doesn't cost them money. Nobody's asking them to give money. We're asking them. We're trying to help people. Because you know why? Because it doesn't help them any. It doesn't put money in their pocket, and that's where we get. And I want to say something because I gotta go shortly, and I'll try to come back later because I gotta go. My wife today was not supposed to be like that, but
No, for sure,
I
man.
will be back.
No, totally.
I want to just say, first of all, thank you guys. God bless you. Thank you for standing up for the truth. And it's not even about me. It's standing up for the truth, the right. Because if I'm wrong, and that's what I say it, and that's why when I came out yesterday, I didn't come attacking them and hiding. I came out attacking and saying, I'm here. Come out. Let's debate it in front of the world. And I'm still saying it right now. I came out and I said, I'm not here to hide behind some paywalls, write some letters, respond with crazy messages, try to put on campaigns. I'm here in front of all the people and saying, come on, Ben, come on, Michael, come on, whoever else you guys want out there. You listen, if I'm reporting bad news, if my sources are wrong, then come out here and tell me that. Come out, tell the world, say, listen, Lev is wrong. This is why we're doing it. No problem. I don't have an issue, but you know that's not the case. This is all about dollars and cents. And you proved it. You know how you proved it to the whole world today? Because instead of coming out and speaking to me in front of the world and trying to make a peace and trying to say maybe it's a misunderstanding and trying to unify and go out there and try to save our democracy, what we're trying to do, what you did, Ben Meidas and the Meidas guys, you did two very sick things. You showed me that you're no different than Donald Trump and the mega machine, because the first thing you did is try to go attack my credibility. You tried to make me look crazy. You tried to go out there, not, that doesn't benefit because, you're trying to now hide the truth by attacking me. That's no different than what Donald Trump does every day to reporters. That's no different than what Donald Trump does to the Epstein survivors. How are you doing? I'm here fighting for the Epstein survivors, and you want to shut me up? You want to make me look crazy because you can't come out and face the truth? You're showing your true colors. So keep going, keep doing it, responding it, because it's true. If you had nothing to hide, if you were not afraid, and if you were honest, and you thought I was really crazy, you would have no chance. You would come up here and discuss it. Especially Ben Meiselas is a lawyer. You're a lawyer, brother. You could, what are you scared of? Come on out. I'm a regular street kid from Brooklyn that is right here, and I'm telling you guys all the time. Everybody, I don't care who it is. I told that to Donald Trump. I told that to Rudy Giuliani. I told that to Victoria Tunzing, Devin Nunes, Kash Patel, Pam Bondi, Matt Gaetz. You can't handle the truth. That is why you can't come and face me. Midas Touch, you can't handle the truth. And that's why you're scared. So you could play your games. It's going to backfire because I will send these notes to my lawyers and we are going to put together. Now, you want to go out there and try to say I'm crazy? No. So wrong move. Guys, God bless you. I want to
Yeah,
wish you a
Thank you
happy day.
so
I'll
much,
try to come
Lev.
out later. Thank you. But this is only the beginning. Believe me.
absolutely.
Yeah.
We are going to, and we're doing it, folks, not because for clickbait. We're doing it because we really want to save our country and expose the people that are hurting us right now. Because if we don't, we are not going to save our democracy. We're going to end up following this because these people all care about getting rich and moving on, not about the poor people that are saving the poor $18 or $14 that cost to go subscribe to them. And because of them, they can't subscribe to real people like Nick or Shane or myself or others that are bringing real news because they have to go subscribe to these paywalls to get some kind of watered down, basically Trump is a madman. We know Trump is a madman. But
Yeah, we
get some
don't need that
sources.
new.
Yeah, go out there, get some sources, get some real news, break some information once in a life, and stop trying to, put these interviews on. Anyway, guys, God bless you. Have
Thank
a
you
great
so
day.
much, Lev.
Yeah.
Thank you,
Take care
everybody.
of
Guys,
Take
yourself.
care.
thank you,
Merry
Lev. If
Christmas.
you guys
Thank you.
want
Merry
to
Christmas.
have
Take care. Merry
access
Christmas.
to real news, guys, I just put out my latest video. It is a 2025 wrap up of everything I have learned reporting this year. It is 10 theses that I have developed that we can use as predictive models coming into 2026. When we look at events, you can look at these things in real time and use these models to look at the world we're living in. I'm going to go ahead and put that link in the chat, guys. But thank you guys so much for hearing out Lev, hearing out me, and understand this is not about division. This is not about tearing apart resistance. No, this is about building a resistance that works. because what
This
we
is
have,
about building long-term resistance and
this isn't working.
sustainable systems that work.
Yeah. So guys, thank you so much for joining us as we back Lev here, because I know me and Nick both, there's a reason we fly this flag behind us every day. Because we believe in America, we believe in this country, and we believe that it can still stand for what we believe it stands for and not what the regime is doing. So, thank you guys. Thank you guys all so much for joining us today. And
Thanks for doing this, Shane.
supporting this work. Lev,
And
we got your
Slava
back.
Ukraine.
Slava
We've got your
Ukraini.
back, friends. We've got your back, and we're here for you. Thanks, brother. I appreciate you.
Yeah, thank you,
having me on.
everybody. And burn bright, resist, and we will talk to you all later.